Hey, great to have you here today, Leesa. I'm really excited to hear from you, especially around a different perspective on the massage industry and what you're able to supply for them. With that in mind, I would really love it if you would introduce yourself a little bit better and let us know what is it you're doing right now for the massage industry.
Oh, thank you, James. Thank you for inviting me here to chat today. So, I'm the founder and designer of the Uniform Stylist. Look, I created the business a year ago. Actually, my anniversary popped up on LinkedIn, um, to basically support the beauty and wellness industry with a different perspective on uniforms. Look, I know that there are traditional tunics, and there's a lot out there in that traditional look. So I wasn't coming into the industry to take over that side of things. I'd had a little bit of experience in uniforms prior to the uniform stylist, which was hospitality uniforms. I had a few salons and clinics come to me and say, we want to wear fashion. We don't want to wear tunics. We want to actually make a bit more of a statement. And we've been buying our uniforms from places like a couple of them come to me with Q, Portman's, Forever New. So just buying everyday wear because it's the kind of look that they want and trying to make it work for, work in a treatment room, but finding it get too hot or it wasn't quite working out well for them. And I'm like, I used to work in a space where we designed all the product for these brands, but we weren't thinking that salon owners and massage therapists were buying them to wear in their salons and clinics. But what if I really thought about it, so that I could recreate those products for specifically for massage therapists and for people who work in the beauty industry. So that's basically what initiated the launch of this business.
I
So
love it. Yeah, I really do. Because before we spoke, I went and had a look at your website, obviously.
yeah,
And what I love is that it's like the uniform stylist,
yeah,
and the photos on there look like something you'd see in a fashion catalog. You've got models wearing the clothes, like just looking all like just like you would see in a normal fashion thing.
yes,
But they are specifically uniforms for massage, wellness, that kind of thing.
that's right.
So even though they look quite stylish and very presentable, they've got
Yes,
that sort of practical application behind them. And I
that's
know it is a question that comes up all the time in our support network is where do you buy uniforms? Where do you do this? Where do you do that? And a lot of the things that people wear, very practical, very comfortable, but they're often not overly stylish. And
professionalism. Yes.
it was making me think, I wonder who is your actual target audience? Because I actually think not everyone who does massage will probably want something that's overly stylish. It's going
Yes.
to suit some people, but your local sports therapist who's working down a footy club probably won't need this kind of thing. How do you see that fitting in?
Yeah, no, it is for a particular customer. It is for someone who's really in the boutique space, someone who's working in an area where they're creating a sensory experience for their guests, and where their image is required to be of that certain aesthetic, I suppose. So, look, I work with lots of owner operators in that space, and the few that have been buying from my products online have all said, I feel so professional when I'm wearing your uniforms. They're so comfortable to wear that I've had people say to me, I could come home from work and sleep in them. I'm like, they are designed to be that comfortable. So you're not thinking about wearing something super stylish. You're actually just wearing something very comfortable that just happens to also be stylish. So, I've had a lot of experience in professional fashion in prior to getting into uniforms. So I know what people like to wear for day-to-day comfort in an office as such. And now it's taking a lot of the psychology behind those choices of what you want to wear to present yourself. So it is for a particular client in mind. It's not to service the whole massage industry, but there's a lot of massage therapists in spas that really like to wear a certain look that's different to those that might work in a clinic. So I've learnt that over the past 12 months. There are differences and different roles in each salon, and different levels of expertise do different things. So that's all been a learning curve for me over the past 12 months for sure.
Yeah, that's great. And it's even like we talk about with massage therapists, when they're looking at their clients, we teach people to be able to say, well, this is my niche. This is who I want to work with the most.
Yes.
And other people are welcome to come in as well. But when I'm doing my work, when I'm doing my training, when I'm doing my marketing, this is who I'm aiming at.
Exactly.
And it's almost like you're doing the same thing. You're saying you want to work with massage therapists who are in that kind of maybe more experiential, more sensory.
Yes.
Maybe they themselves are more like boutique massage therapists. They're
That's
doing
right.
maybe a high level sensory kind of experience rather than just a very simple remedial crash and bash sports, that kind of stuff, which is all, of course, very legitimate in its own way, but might not fit with the kind of persona that you've got there.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So I really like that you've been able to demonstrate that you in your business are actually reflecting that practice that will match what your clients are doing as well.
That's right. That's right. And there is this temptation to want to be everything to everybody. Um,
Mm.
and, no one likes to say no. And so you still want to try and help everybody. If anyone comes to me and I'll always try and find a way to help. But really, I do have to stay focused on my niche because that's going to continue with that authenticity and, reflects my brand as well. So,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. And so tell us a little bit about your history then. When you mentioned you've only fairly recently started this business around a year ago, did
yes.
it look the same then? What prompted you to start the uniform stylist?
So previously I had, so background is in fashion design. So I've got a fashion degree. So quite unlike probably a lot of people in your audience, I went straight into fashion school when I left high school. And my I've worked in lots of areas of denim and casual wear, outerwear, knitwear, all sorts of categories in fashion, but my area of expertise was probably women's workwear.
Mm.
So, a lot of the brands that a lot of your audience would know, there was always be an area where, this is what you would wear to work. And that was probably my preferred area of expertise because I really liked the choices people have to make when they're dressing themselves for their professional selves. But look, it's a very demanding industry, and I've been in it for 20 years, and I was looking for something a little bit different, and I ended up getting into hospitality uniforms with another co-founder, and so he had a lot of experience in uniform supply, and I had all the trend forecasting and all of that sort of thing we could sort of combine together. So that was a massive learning curve. That was jumping into something very different for me and my first time as a business owner. So it's terrifying. And, you learn lots of things along the way and you wing it a little bit, you have a little bit of structure. And so it was in that time, in those 4 years with that business that I did work with salon owners and people that worked in the beauty and wellness industry saying, we want more fashionable stuff, more fashionable than what you're doing here in hospitality. And that's when I found that they were all buying products from my previous kind of life in the fashion industry. So I knew that in exiting that last business and starting the uniform stylist that I could only make it work if I worked very, very closely with actual massage therapists and people who worked in the beauty industry. So I've had girls working with me from days when I was sketching a year ago. So, working with the kind of products that I knew worked really well in that space, in the fashion space for work, and said, try these on. How will these work? And they're like, oh, no, I can't do that. Oh, the sleeve's too this. And I'm like, okay, what about these ones? So it was a constant refining of the product in the end because they bought what they needed from a practical and functional sense and what they didn't really like or want from their previous uniforms and the previous offer. And we just married that with my experience in uniform and in fashion altogether. So that took probably 6 months of very intensive and a very focused strategy as well. I wasn't trying to come in and change the whole beauty and wellness industry from a uniform point of view. I really wanted to target the niche that I felt quite aligned to being able to support and have just sort of stuck with that. But it's an ongoing thing. Like I said, I still have people that I kind of, if they want to openly talk about what they need as far as a uniform point of view, I'll interrogate them. And people, what's what I love about the beauty and wellness industry is they want to be part of something new. They want to support. It's just a natural their natural way of, and it's who they are as well. They're like, how can we help you help us? And
Yeah,
so
that's
a very
great.
collaborative process over the last 12 months. So that's where we're here now, and still learning and still testing things out. And I did some surveys recently, because that's a really great way to sort of find out what, after 6 months of sort of you know trading, I suppose, is what next. How can I help you fix this or get better? Is this what you expected from me? Have I delivered? I didn't say it in these words, though. It was actually written, quite easy to kind of follow. And they're all like, they're great, they're durable, they're comfortable, I feel amazing, my clients tell me complimentary things, it's everything I hoped they would be and more. And I'm like, huh. Because I'm so
Fantastic.
critical with my I'm like, oh, I know what I'd change, but so yeah, it's an ongoing journey, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, what a great journey though. And when you get feedback like that, you're on the right track. So that's really great. Good on you.
Yeah.
What
Yes.
about, like, if you look back over that journey of the last 12 or 18 months, you've shared a bit about the creative challenge of actually making this product, making these amazing uniforms.
Yeah.
What were your biggest challenges with stuff like marketing? Like, how did you even get those first few clients and build a bit of a reputation? What did that look like for you in your business?
Yeah, that was. I actually was very, very lucky that I worked very closely with my last business. I had shared an office. This is where I think networking and
Mm,
sharing information with like support groups, coaching groups, that sort of thing. Along the way, I've met a great team in branding called the Reflective, and they were good friends of mine, and they really helped me dive into the workshops to really create some structure around my wonderful ideas. And I want to help, and I want to help the industry. They're like, okay, let's streamline that into quite a structured approach. Also learnt a bit from my last business, but having said that, it's such a different business. So it's almost like throw all that out, start again. And I did have a bit of a marketing strategy, but it's funny, what you plan and what you think is going to be the road forward in the beginning. You have to be ready to go like that and go like that and then turn that off and then start something else, because it has evolved. But the what I totally underestimated was just how much word of mouth is really important as well, and having the digital and word of mouth. And you have to have everything going, but not everything, because you can't spread yourself too thin. But really try and identify a few key areas and stick with it, and then be prepared to be flexible.
yeah, I love that. That is such a true experience of a lot of businesses when they start too, including people actually in the massage and wellness industry. Those people starting those businesses, often at the start, we talk about putting a lot of energy into marketing. You need
Yeah.
to be out there doing a lot of different things.
Yes.
But really, it's just experimentation in that early part. And
Yes.
once you discover what it is that's working the best, you can leave things that aren't working. You don't want to do everything forever. you want to pick, what are the 2 or 3 main channels I'm going to be able to use to
That's
get myself out there, to get people attracted in, to make the business work well. And once you've kind of conquered that, then you move up to the next level and you start thinking about it, the next stage of things.
yeah.
What about, like, for you, what do you see as coming next? Where do you see your business going in the next 12 months? Is it just still you're supplying uniforms? Do you have a bigger next step? What's your vision?
Yeah, look, I've got a few actually ideas. I think now that I've sort of seen the success of the kind of fabrications that I've been working with, like I see a lot of opportunity to work with those fabrications in other areas, even in sleep work, because everyone's telling me that they're sleeping in my uniforms. So, so there's lots of opportunity, but I think for me it will be just taking baby steps. I've got the online collections, and I probably will also do a softer collections for those that work for retreats and spas. It's a little bit different to the product that I have online, as well as more aprons. The trick for me is with aprons is that they have to they need to be very, very durable, obviously, but also finding something that's really eco-friendly and comfortable to wear, that's not like plastic.
Mm.
So it's probably doing some time with more fabric developments. But also I do have a custom design side of the business, which is for bigger volume, and there's definitely some areas in that side of things that will be growing as well. So, but still keeping it quite boutique and fashionable. Trying not to be getting too corporate or basic t-shirts and polos and things like that. I have got a few ideas for some polos as well, and expanding into some more men's wear. So it's all progressing, but and I've sort of want to be here straight away, but it is just taking things in,
one step at a time.
One step at a time, yeah. Exactly.
What about, like, when you're going through that process of designing a new piece or a new item, what do you actually take into account? Like, I imagine for beauty, for massage, there's some similar things that you're looking at. Yeah. What are other practical things that you're kind of pulling into a piece when you create that?
Yeah, look, it's I take in a lot of feedback as well. So I have lots of people that email and say, oh, I really like that top, but I'd love it in short sleeve. I really like that top, but I want it in a shorter sleeve. There are actually some things I can do on my website that I can curate from the templates that we have. So some people have liked the dress shorter above the knee or the sleeve shorter. So I can always go shorter. I can't go longer. Or different colours. So things will just naturally evolve because that's what the market wants. I design my products to be like a slow fashion, conscious fashion, so it's not fast fashion. So it's not going to be in and out. So I watch trends, and being a trend forecaster in my previous career, sort of you start to learn what are going to be the in and out trends that they're just going to feel not right in the following season, whereas some trends will have a bit more longevity, and they're the ones I'll sort of work with. Because I've had people ask me things. Oh, I want a certain style of jacket to wear, and I'm like, oh, I know that trend. You're not going to want to wear it in 6 months. So it's a little bit of that. It's a mixed way of designing. But sometimes I'll see something new will come out, and I'm like, oh gosh, they're going to love that, and I'll just rework it and. So I'm starting to know what they're going to love. So I just made up a new sample a month ago and had a few girls try it on. It's not released yet. And it's good to sort of see. The other thing I've got to think about is that there are a lot of women in this industry, and a lot of women have babies. So they want something that's going to sort of see them through perhaps until, 6 or 7 months. And I've had a child myself, so I know that I don't necessarily want to go out and buy all maternity wear, but there are styles that you can buy that will last you. I had someone who's 24 weeks pregnant try on all of the products recently, and 70% of the products work for her at that size. So they're so designed with that in mind as well. So there's really only a couple of styles that will only work for you as a regular shaped woman. But there's all of those sorts of considerations as well, because I want to be able to get that, still wear that look, and then maybe at the end they can get, a bigger t-shirt or whatever and some maternity pants. But they are designed to cover off a lot of aspects. It's not just the one, oh, that's a great design, I'll put that online and go from there. There's a lot more thought that goes into it, obviously.
Yeah, I find that fascinating. It sounds like a really interesting process to go through that design phase, the testing, the feedback, all that kind of stuff. It's super creative and super cool. Yeah. And I love that the longer you continue to learn and to work with it, you're starting to recognize what it is that people want. Yes. And you can, just like you're doing with fashion forecasting, you can almost like predict, these guys are going to love this, and you can come out with something that's much more suited. And I bet there's still feedback, there's still growth, and people change. But the more you work with them, the easier it becomes to kind of predict what those things will be, and the more you literally learn about people. Yes. That's really, really great. Good on you.
One of the values I had when I sort of set the business up was that, collaboration was going to be really important, because I work best in a team, and when you're starting off by yourself, that can be a little bit lonely, I suppose. And so where do I find my team? Is it in coaching groups? Is it in networking groups? Where do I get my team? So I've got contractors that work with me in pattern making, quality control and design and all of that sort of thing. And I've got an offshore team. but who are the people I'm going to bounce my ideas off day to day? And so I didn't realise at the time how critical that collaborative part is for me, but it's
Yeah.
every single day, every comment, and even whether it's a DM or they send me messages on Instagram, I read all of them, and it's all kind of catalogued, it's all here. And even though I'll say, oh look, I can't help you out with that right now, I don't have that in navy yet, but few of you have said that now, so give me time and we'll get that out in something like that in navy or in a dark colour or in something else that you would like to see. So it's
Yeah, beautiful.
I think that's a bit different to some others that just go, no, we're the designers and we'll design what we think's right.
Yeah, for sure. You're listening much more.
Yeah.
Do you find, like you were saying, you wanted to be able to connect more with colleagues, or that's what you're missing, the colleagues? Do you find that connection with clients is enough, or do you have other people that you bounce ideas around with that are more at the designer level or at colleague level?
It's both. It's both. It's definitely both. I've got a stylist friend who she styles for women who have had surgery, so their body shapes are different to prior to surgery, whether it's they've lost weight or had breast removed and that sort of thing. And so it's a very intimate relationship that she shares with her clients. And while she doesn't talk about who does what, but there's things that that inspire her with what people feel joy in wearing. She said, I saw a lady come out of the fitting room today and she was wearing this beautiful outfit and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, that sounds amazing. There's nothing greater than having that kind of feedback on your work, whether it's styling or designing, that encourages you to keep doing more of it. But she's a really great resource for me, because she's thinking of all body types as well. So we're not just trying to design for that girl on the website. We're actually thinking in our minds of a bigger picture. And I've just done some videos recently, just putting some things together that showcase just different girls trying on different sizes, really tall girls, petite girls, all different sizes trying on for the pregnant lady, to show that we're thinking, trying to think about everybody, and how we can help everybody, not just a particular girl on our website,
Yeah, I love that.
So yeah, there's lots of people that have been on this journey with me right from the start and actually understand what I'm, hoping to do, and very supportive.
Yeah, and fashion, I know too, can be very personal. Like some people really care about what they look like and they cultivate a particular type of look, and they'll only buy things in certain styles and certain colors because that's their kind of look. They've chosen that. And I know there's other people who just have a different personality and a bit looser with what they might think of as their style, if they even think that at all.
Yes.
And so I'm kind of picking up on you. I mean, obviously you're into fashion. This is your industry. You've been in it for years and years.
Yes.
And I can kind of see that you've got the knowledge and the depth of understanding of what people are going to look good in and what's going to be comfortable and what's going to work for them. And you're kind of offering that level of expertise. And I'm sure there's some people listening who are like, oh my goodness, I need that. I want that. This is super fantastic.
Yes.
And other people who are like, is it going to be comfortable? Is it going to, and they might have other criteria that they judge their purchases on.
Yes.
I know you said you focus a lot on the practical side of things as well as the visual appeal or the fashion look of it.
Yeah.
If people want to learn more about your work and what you do, what's your website, or is that the best place for them to go, to your website?
Yeah, look, the website, yes, is one way to get in touch, but I find that Instagram, lots of people send me direct messages on Instagram or Facebook. We are sort of looking now at doing a newsletter. I'm not sure how much to bombard people with the newsletter. I don't know. But I think that's a great way to sort of show what's happening and what new things are happening.
Great. So if someone wants to find you on Instagram, what's the Instagram handle?
It is just the Uniform Stylist.
The Uniform Stylist.
Yes.
And we'll put a link to that in the show notes. So if you're listening to this or watching this and you want to go straight through, we'll make sure there's a clickable link there.
Yes. That's probably where we are the most active, because that's where I'm finding the audience is the most active with me and this particular look for the inspiration. I do polls, do you guys want bib aprons, waist aprons, what colours do you want to see in the range? And that's where it can get quite interactive, and those polls are a way of sort of summarising how I can actually get that into the market as quickly as I can.
Yeah, fantastic. And Instagram loves fashion. You're going to do
Yeah,
well on there with the
there's lots of
nice
sharing.
photos.
And I share content as well. So when, I've got girls that are sending me photos, dressed in their new uniforms, and we put logos and that sort of thing on as well.
Oh,
And,
beautiful.
I can share that sort of content as well, which is always nice. It sort of gets their name out there a bit more too. So,
I
um,
love it.
yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing today, Leesa. It's been really great to hear from you and get a bit of a different perspective on the industry. It sounds just so creative and so much fun. And I really hope there's a lot of people listening to this that can connect in with you and get some great uniforms and great stylish uniforms happening.
Your audience would be really wonderful. Or really would love to hear from them.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for coming on today. We'll catch up with you soon.